Peace to the gods, and welcome to another broadcast of In the Circle Ministries. And I'm your host, Rico Blakeney. And give me 1 second, we'll proceed with tonight's show. Sorry for getting on just a little late, but I got a house full of grandbabies, so I was enjoying that time too. I think some getting ready to leave, but I was able to make it tonight. Like I was saying, I'm your host, Rico Blakeney. This is our virtual YouTube ministry where we take things and put them up under the microscope, and that's in every aspect of whatever it is that you're dealing with in your life. If it's from your mental, your spiritual, your financial, your emotional, your relationships, your everyday evaluation of yourself and your self mastery, and becoming a better version of yourself. Um, Knowing that you only have the saving power with the Christ consciousness to understand that your saving power it's within yourself and it's for yourself and your life and experiences and things of that nature, or the testimonies of the things you're experiencing for others. But we take things to put them under a microscope, and we see things that we couldn't see with the naked eye. There's a scripture that says that if our body be full of light, then if our eye be single, then our body be full of light. And with that scenario, that means that we'll be enlightened. We'll come from a place of a lower vibration to a higher vibration. We're coming to a understanding. We're coming to a higher consciousness of ourself, of enlightenment. We're coming out of the dark into the light. Therefore, being God and Master of all. But that's what we do here. We have a couple of things we'll talk about tonight. I know I didn't get to make it last week, so that's what it is. Life, and like I say, things that come up as far as living and enjoying the grandbabies and enjoying my life. Might not get to make it here, but I do my best to come on and continuously stay committed to what I do. And I know and I understand with everything that comes with that is that sometimes you can't give what you would like to give when it's already been designated, or things have already been designated. Your time and what you need to be doing will be done. So in a sense, that's like thine will be done upon the earth as it is in heaven. That the contract that I've made with my higher consciousness for the things that has already taken place, that I get to live out and experience, uh, those things are already laid out for me. They're already taking care of themselves. So, and if you hear the grandkids or son-in-law, my daughter, anybody walk through or whatever, they won't be on camera. Pay them no mind. If you hear me speaking, that's just our thing. I may mute you guys out for the time being, and I may not. And I also was gonna live stream on TikTok as well. So I'm gonna shoot on over to TikTok and take care of some things now, and then that way, I can take care of that. I think the title for the night is choosing the right fight or picking the right fight. Give me 1 second. Let me go see it real quick. Learn to pick and choose your fights. Okay. Learn to pick and choose your fights. And let me get that right. Yeah, you guys have to excuse me. I'll be back for those that maybe watching later on, and come on that's maybe watching now. Let me get some things set up over here. And let me see how this is gonna work for me as well. Uh, so, so TikTok, follow TikTok here on YouTube. I'm gonna give out a disclaimer about going into my descriptions and seeing the things and the links that we have in our description section. Um, one is the In the Circle University, but the link there is in the Circle Church, which you go to the menu and it's gonna lead you to the In the Circle University in the menu section there, and you learn about and you can see some of the processes and things that we have in there. For those that understand about being God and living your life out as God, and how can you do it in a legal and lawful way, and handle yourself and then go out amongst them into the world and still be separate from the world. So we have certain things that we offer, processes and procedures and teachings for donations, for yearly donations or donations for certain courses that we educate you in, but it'll be on you to handle and take care of the processes and the procedures that is on you, but it's we educate there. So now educating department from our passport process of correcting your status. Sometimes you've heard about it before, talking about capturing or controlling a straw man in a sense. Um, Learning how to properly do that and correcting your status and how to operate and what, operate the way that you need to and use the best utilization of um, utensils as trusts and LLCs into the world of commercial, and how to live out your life through that way, and how it benefits and helps you build your generational wealth, and how to do it from your God state and do it from your your exempt from their status in a sense format. But how to do it in your God given right, to do it at the church that you are. You are the temple of God, and if you are the temple in the house of God, and also the spiritual essence of you allow you to be the temple in the house of God, because you are children of the Most High God, and you are God's. And understanding that, and if don't know much about that, go watch more about my channels and my shows, or get a consultation, or join the yearly membership where we have bi-weekly meetings and we discuss different forums and things of that nature, and also a lot about the processes and procedures there that we offer for the education department. So check that out in the links. Check out the How to Win in Court Without a Lawyer or Dr. Graves. Learn how to properly defend yourself in the court settings, in the court arena, and learning how to move the court by way of motions and things of that nature, but also learn the basic fundamentals of how the court operates, rules or procedures. It doesn't teach you case law. It's something else you can learn how to help defend yourself more, um, make yourself more, give you more ammunition, and make your stuff more powerful of how to actually really go in there and come away with a win. But learning the basics of the way the court moves and their languages and everything else, that gives you a better standing if you're going to represent yourself pro se. If you have to do it from lack of means or lack of not trusting a lawyer, public defender, or whatever, you can actually learn how to properly educate and defend yourself. And that is a great course that you can get. It's a yearly course. It's very cheap, and if you use the code that I have in there as well, I do get a paid promotion off of it. Out of so many members that come, there are so many people that go and get the course using my link and my code. So do that, check it out, learn what it is, and um, Learn what you can about case law, or join our membership where we will teach you more about reading and understanding citations and case law, how to read them, court decisions. Learn how to read the captions or reading actual um, citations or court cases or things of that nature, and learn what all the abbreviations and everything else stand for is when you get into knowing what you're looking at. So that Dr. Gray thing is a great thing to have as well. We also have the Inthecirkle LLC, where we have home repair and mobile automotive repair services for the Lancaster and Columbia area, South Carolina, and from the Lancaster to Charlotte areas in North Carolina. So there's any need that you need in your home, inside, outside, on top, around, or on the grounds, give us a call, or contact us through email, and we can see what it is that you're in need of, and we can conveniently get those services to you, give you pricing as well. And we also have the cash out for those that want to donate and know the power of giving, to bring back in. Whether if you get the information from me or you get something that is in you that allows you to want to give to the channel, you know the power of giving, then you will receive if it comes from me or somewhere else. But God, the universe, or you and yourself will bring the repayment of that 10, 50 to 100 times fold. So knowing and understanding that natural law. But we get over here. I'm gonna go ahead and go on TikTok too and get started over there. But we'll get into the night discussions later on while I wait on others to get here and come on the TikTok live. I want to thank everyone that's coming on the YouTube and that'll be here later. I will have to get my book since I'm using my phone now for what we will be talking about tonight. And this is something that you have to understand, that whenever you catch me either on any channel or any avenue or any social media platform, however it may be, that everything that I talk about and teach about or go through, um, outside of some silly other things, but the things that I'm talking in are about self. It's about you. It's about self growth. These are the things and the understanding that I have and the experiences that I've used for myself personal growth. So all these things are meant to be turned inwardly. There's nothing you can do externally, but it's the things that have to be done inwardly in you. If you want to make the world a better place, then the change starts with you. You can't change anyone else, circumstances, or situations. So the saving in you is the Christ in you, to save yourself, to be your own savior, and to bring yourself back into the relationship with your higher consciousness or your God, or the relationship between you and the Father. So let me continue to go to where I was going to. But yeah, so in our self-mastery and everything else that we deal with, that we're growing into with ourselves with, then we have to understand that um, it's all about us. It's all about me. It's all about I. The whole I am and the I am statement, the things of that nature. So understanding that I am God and I am God all by myself, that is for me in my life, and for those that, like I said, it may catch me on different social media platforms. Go check out the profile and check out more videos to get more understanding if this is confusing. But I am God and I am God all by myself. I am the creator. I am the Alpha, I am the Omega, I am the beginning, I am the ending, I am the author and the finisher of my faith. I'm accountable for all things and decisions made in me and my life, that is, and everything that consists of my world. So, as I continuously work with my self-mastery, there'll be certain things and certain areas that we have to put up under the microscope and see them with a spiritual eye, or see them with a single eye, and let a certain light be shed on the thing, or let a certain truth be revealed from the thing that the light is shined upon. And then you take that truth and that result, or the resolve from what you put up under that microscope, and treat it for the truth that it is, not what you would want it to be, and you try to twist and manipulate or change your perspective, and not, I'm not going to say always your perspective, but the way you will handle a certain thing. Um, let's say if it's supposed to be a yes or a no criteria for a question that was asked, is either a yes or a no. 9 times out of 10, our natural response is start to giving the reason why it. Uh, if it is no, the reason why it could be yes. That would be the first answer instead of saying no because of this, but it could be yes because of that. Anyway, we start to negotiate and try to handle that thing in a certain way. So confirmation bias, I guess that's what I'm trying to look for. A lot of times, even whenever it comes to studying and whatever it may be from your spirituality book, if you see it from a religious standpoint, if it's from the Bible, the Quran, or whatever it may be, um, there's a lot of interpretation, indoctrination, and dogma and belief that you will have. And then a lot of time when you read the scripture, instead of reading it in its actual context and read it for what it says, we're going to read into it what we want it to say so we can receive what we want it to say for us for our benefit. Instead of allowing it to speak and say what it is, and to see that if it is a benefit, and if it isn't, then that's what it is. We don't have to make everything fit from Genesis into Revelation into our core belief. If you were to understand more about um, the comprising or what the Bibles are, the books of the Bible really are a bunch of different manuscripts from different authors in different periods and different times, even from Genesis. Genesis has more than one author, has more than one, the four groups of people, if not more, in different time frames of the collection of the whole thing that you might see as the book of Genesis. And so it goes on and on throughout the entirety of the 65 other different books or the omitted books. Um, so the only things like the Book of Enoch and some of those other writings you may come across that are more so one author, um, from my understanding. Now I haven't searched and done and came up with all the information on the books of Enoch, but from what I can understand and gather with my limited resources of searching, um, that it's more so of one person, one collection. What's up, everybody on TikTok? Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming in. If you're here, if you're new, if you've seen me, or if you looked at some of my stuff, put a one into the chat over in the TikTok world. If you're being here, put a one. If you're new, put a two. And then after the show tonight or after the live later on, go check my profile so the next time you be on the number one list instead of the number two list. But thank you for coming out. Thank you for joining. Feel free to like, share, comment, thoughts, and opinions. All right, bro. Love y'all. You're able to give, but give it with a give it in good intent. We don't do hate. We don't talk down. You can give your honest opinion without passing down your judgment. So your thought and your opinion is yours, which everyone has a right to have that of their own. And we are all different individuals. But don't disrespect anyone else through your thoughts or your opinions. But glad you're here, glad to see you here, and thank you for coming. Um, but yeah, don't forget to come in or put something into the chat either here on either social media thing we're on. But the subject we're talking about, it also deals with our self-mastery, as I was saying earlier. Depending on which platform you're on, where you're at, where we're at. So in our self-mastery, the thing I had to work on is learning that I couldn't make certain scripture fit my criteria when I was into the religious world and into the church and things of that nature, where um, sitting up under someone else's doctrination or claiming to be a certain denomination. So learning that the Bible isn't a univocal it doesn't have a univocal voice from Genesis to Revelation. As I say, it has many different authors. It's not all God inspired. A lot of it is man hands been put in. It's been changed. And yes, have there been a lot of things altered and put in, and footnotes added and footnotes taken out, and um, um, a bunch of things of that nature. And through the translation and transfiguration of it, there's a lot of things that was added and depleted and omitted, and some were just plain out just misunderstood. But anyway, so being able to take away things in there, being able to take away the bone, they say eat the meat and spit out the bone, being able to take away some things that are good is what I speak about a lot through my experiences, because I had a whole lot of my life has been involved into what you would call the Holy Bible, different versions, different yeah, revisions, different standards, things of that nature. And it's about like most time people say the King James version. It's not a version or translation. It's not a translation. It's a revision. It's a there was no translation going on between the King James. But anyway, um, learning to choose which fight it is. And so on the other platform that I have is Second Corinthians chapter 10. Um, I think it's verses like 4 to 7, and you'll hear about it in other verses with the Pauline teachings and supposedly writings of Paul speaks about us really not fighting with the physical. We're fighting with the spiritual nature. We're fighting with things on a whole different level and a whole different plane. And so we go through our life, and I go, and a lot of time I went through my self mastery, so I put it on myself. A lot of time I went through my own self mastery, and I fought physical battles, and I got my behind handed to me a lot, and a lot of times I did win. But the ratio of winning to losing fared more on the losing side. But in every loss, there's a lesson to learn. So really never lose. There's a lesson to gain in the process. So in the simplest form, you can lose the battle and win the war, or win the battle and lose the war. But understanding that we wrestle with, or we deal with things, and when we say about wrestle with, we deal with the I dealt with the everyday concept or the everyday life of dealing with things of thought, imagination, and things of the spiritual and the physical, and they was treated as two separate battles. Um, I would go into the spiritual to battle with my spiritual self and spiritual nature, and believing it would overcome, suppress, and take over, and really just get rid of any other physical um, problems I would have. Um, but I come to find out that a lot of that stuff was really, it was just all spirituality, and it never was really the physical stuff. The physical stuff was the after results of what has already taken place into the heavens. Um, there's a scripture in the Bible says that everything on the earth is just a rehearsal of everything that's already taken place in the heaven. I'm thinking with Paul too, speaking about going from glory to glory in different ones. I don't know if it's Ecclesiasticals or Corinthians or which one of those books it were, but if you Google it and try to Google that scripture, you'll find it as well. Love you, baby. But if it's taken care in the heavens, take care in your self mastery and dealing with those things, you can see the root cause of it. The physical things allow you to see more so of the outcome of that took place, and the real issue and the answer to whatever is showing or that you're dealing with in the physical is something that's taking place in the spiritual, whether it's from your thought, because that's where most of it comes from, that's followed by an action, and then it's followed by an equal or opposite reaction. Natural laws, you know, for every Action is an equal or opposite reaction. And so whenever we deal with stuff like that, that's what we have to understand it. That's where it comes from, the spiritual. It's not, or it comes from the higher plane. It comes from the place of imagination. Um, it comes from a higher place. And also, what I mean by that is everything handled. If you're dealing with a corporation or a business, excuse my French, they say shit rolls downhill. So it starts from the owner to the CEO or the president to the management under the president and the management under that management that's led by the HR, and then everyone up under that down to the lead man, to the employees, to the janitor or whatever. But it comes down. So everything that happened up here or anything you see down here is a common response mostly from what's up here. Not saying that in the business aspect that somebody down here, an employee, can mess up or do some things, but what I'm saying is in that scheme of that scope or that structure of what you're building the company for, what you want the company to do, and how you want it to be successful, then you have a module or a model, then you have a curriculum that you're going to run to have from up here down here to bring all this stuff to pass, and that culture will be passed down to each and every employee from the, like I say, from the owner's mind to the president to the vice president to the HR to the managers and down to the supervisors, down to the employee. That coach is spread down. So a lot of times we don't understand that's how well built we are in our oneness, in ourself with ourself, our thoughts. That stuff affects and spreads to every member of our body, every member of our corporation, every member of our kingdom, every member of our nation. So everything that is there from your thought process, you're going to get an equal and opposite reaction from whatever you decide to do in that thought or with that thought. So say that you work and you go to work and you're making your money and you got a steady stream of income and you have your books balanced and you're pretty well straight, but for some reason you still can't seem to hold any money or get any money or get ahead or even save any money. No matter how hard you work, there's always somewhere else to put your money. What I mean by that is there can be shit that comes up. There can be situations that happen. It can be lifing, and you living through lifing, and then there's always somewhere to put the money, and there's catching the dog accumulating. And it doesn't take but one thing, and now you're behind. And the comfortability that you had in being able to budget and plan to keep everything straight has now went haywires. You catch yourself trying to figure out how to rob Peter to pay Paul, how to pay this to pay that, how to do this and to do that. But how often do you go back and do a full audit or a full accounting and say why and what is going on that has messed up my books? What other spending habits or what other things have I done that won't allow me to actually retain or keep money, or that won't allow life to quit lifing on me? Why is life always lifing on me? So in other words, trying to say why all bad things always happen to me. Why shit always happen? Why is it when it rains it pours? That comes from a mental capacity, and I say this boldly. This comes from a spiritual ability or a spiritual um, disability. And the disability isn't a bad thing. It's just that you're not able to do that you're able to do. You're just disabled from doing that you're already able to do. You have a disconnection within yourself that is disabling you from handling whatever it is that you need to do. So that's the only thing I mean by a disablement when I say spiritual disablement, because there is no better one than the other. We're all equal. We're all the same. So you're just disabled from doing that thing. Is it because that you have a mindset of want, If you have a mindset of want, you're going to always want. If you have a mindset of need, you will always need. If you have a mindset of desire, you will always desire. So here's the thing. You will never be able to attain that you desire because you will always desire. And by the time I finish, it'll make sense. And you'll always need because you'll never be able to supply that need that you need because there's always going to be a damn need. And you're going to always want because it's always going to be a want. Even when you satisfy or you think you completed that want, there's something else you're going to want, or something else is going to want whatever it is that you got saved or put back for that want. It's going to be allocated somewhere else. Whenever you go and you believe in your thought process, if you think in your mind need, your brain don't see solution. The spirit, the universe, the heavens, God is not hearing you pray for no more need, abundance. It hears lack. It hears want. It hears I like to have, I wish, and someday, and one day. It never hears now. It never hears I am, I have. Even if you physically can't touch it. That's why I'm saying the title for the pick learn on one social media is learn to pick, learn to pick and choose your fights. And over here is picking and choosing your fights or whatever. But you're fighting a physical fight and you're losing. You can't fight hate with hate. You have to fight hate with love, if that makes sense. Um, you can't overcome loud, boisterous, and aggressiveness with more loud bruteness and aggressiveness. You can you don't win. Nobody wins. It's really and it shouldn't be about winning or losing. But the point I'm making is that you don't get nowhere. You don't grow. You stay stuck. You stay stagnated. It gets you nowhere. It profits you nothing. That situation, that experience, only taught you what not to do. Did it teach you about how not to do it? No, that's on you. That's what I was talking about earlier, your thought process and everything else. Once you grow and become more aware of who and what you are and the power of your thoughts and your process, then you can fight the right fight. You can fight the good fight of faith. You can fight those things against the principalities and high places and wickedness in high places. And you can still do those things. You can pull down those things. And before I get too far, I probably already have, but let me read these two scriptures or these few scriptures real quick. And that was 2 Corinthians 10, 3, and I think through 5. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and the bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. And so if we break that down from my understanding, my experiences, for those that are new and for those that are old, you already know how we do here. So been saying the same thing in a roundabout way. What I just read here is that understanding that we are God and we are God all by ourselves, and that we take counsel with our wise self, is that our thought process produces everything that it is, and these are spiritual characteristics. These are higher frequency, higher vibration, or they are wave or vibrational frequencies of operation. They are higher consciousness. It I can't say it no other way, but it is a difference in between the spiritual and the flesh. So when we're warring with the flesh, we don't use fleshly weapons. My weapons is my spirituality. It is my awareness and my acceptance of me being God. That is my most powerful weapon, the God in me. and bringing everything up under the subjection to that. Not everything externally, in a sense. That's the fleshly part, but bringing everything that is inside of me, my body, my corporation, my member, my kingdom, my nation, bringing everything subject up under to the obedience of that God awareness that I am, the essence of who and what I am. I am the energy force that cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred or transmutated. I only can go from here to there. And I'm beginning to have no end. I'm all eternal. And so are you. So understanding that we're not worn after the things, I'm not trying to deal with paying Peter to pay Paul and to do all these other things. I have to deal with why don't I have another source of income? Why don't I have another source of revenue? Why am I only putting that resource or that medium of exchange into things that will not reciprocate or multiply or will reproduce back more of those things, like the money? Why am I tying up my money in wants, needs, and pleasure to have access that becomes liabilities? Why am I happen to um, live a poverty mindset? No matter how much money you can make 30,000 to 2 million, you can still live that same lifestyle. So I'm saying, why are we not walking? Why am I not living in wealth or walking into the wealth that I already attain, and that I am? Why why isn't those things being taken care of? So those are the answers to the need, the wants, and the prayers and the lack. The solution to it is that this is why the money is always going here. This is why the money is always going there. This is why there's always something happening. This is why there's when it rains, it pours. It's a thought process. So if you're going to think about things and you're going to think about the battle that you're in and see it from a physical standpoint, then you've already lost half the battle. You have to understand that the thing that you're fighting with are all the members in your body are warring with you. Some of your members are not warring with you; they're warring against you because they're not under the subjection of that God that you're in. They're still handling the physical aspect of everything and coming with physical results or physical answers for the situations. So let me see what else was it for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. And so the weapons of the warfare are not carnal, meaning that they're not in this physical part. They're not the avatar. They're not the job. They're not the wife. They're not the kids. They're not the car. They're not the birds. They're not any of this carnal stuff or anything that deals with the physical existence of anything. It's all in the spiritual. Because we understand that the physical is only into existence because of the spiritual. And so, um, I apologize about that. But mighty through God to the pulling down of the strongholds. So the strongholds are the things that are got you deep rooted in your thinking. The strongholds is your thoughts, belief, your core beliefs, your perspectives, and your traditions, your religions, and anything else you can think of that makes you somewhat of the individual that you are. So as you understand that much, you have to understand that to really grow within yourself, you have to go within the kingdom of heaven within you. So you have to understand that you have to go into the treasury of the God that you are, or go into the treasury of the Most High, go into the inner chambers of the Most High inside of the temple. And Look into the treasury of God and see the things that you hold for treasure are your thoughts. All those things I talked about before, your beliefs, your perspectives, your religion, your or whatever it may be. Those things are your treasures. Those are your real wealth, whether you recognize it or not. Because these are the things that are of value to you and that dictate, rule how you act, respond, and anything else. Let someone else disrespect you in a certain way in your religion, your finances, your thoughts, your perspective, your tradition, and people have got killed for the same or less, or unalive for the same or less. So evaluate those things and see what they are, and go back and do what I was talking about earlier, bringing everyone up under that culture or that nature of the thought of the owner that was given to the president, that was given to them how to handle the corporation, that was given to the GM, or that was given to the bishop, that was given down to the pastor, that was given down to the elders, or however you want to view it. So a lot of times when we have thoughts, we do have other thoughts. We have reason and logic, and we have emotions. A lot of time when we're going through our thought chambers, we don't take our our spiritual weapons. We take our carnal weapons. We take our emotions. We take our problems, and we take our visual perspective about that situation, and then we go into our spiritual time, or we go into our inner chamber, or we go before God with our issues, or want to resolve from the things we're dealing with. Then we bring need, want, lack, and more of the other stuff, because we're saying we don't have an answer. I need it. I need it. I need it. Try acknowledging that you are God, and this is one of the first steps. And I think it's one of the first steps, but one of the most good steps that was for me. Understanding that I'm God and I'm God all by myself, and that when things are brought to me in every aspect I could hear about God in the Bible, in a sense, that I was that facilitator. So um, that way, I was able to come before God with nothing but thanksgiving in my heart, come with praises in my hand, come with uplifted and singing with uplifted hands and praises within my heart all through the way, So being able to go into my quiet time with those places and those things, it brings about the results I need physically. It brought about the manifestation of everything that was inside of the kingdom of heaven. So anyway, learn to pull down those strongholds. Sorry about that. But learn to pull down those strongholds is what's going to allow you to, how did they put that? After you pull down the strongholds, you're also going to cast down the imaginations. Any other thoughts? This is what I was talking about earlier about. It's in a different realm. And the imaginations and the powers and the thoughts, you have someone else's ideal thoughts, opinions, tradition, and religion given to you. And those imaginations and your imaginations and anything else that would have you not been able to understand that you are the author of your life. You are the reason why things are going the way that they're going in your life. Whatever connection you have with the external is that the external is that there's no separation between you and the external. It's all one. The only separation is this physical, which only separation with it is that it has a limited lifespan, and it'll return back into a place where it has all everlasting recycling. So it is everlasting. If the body comes from dust and goes back to dust, and dust has been here and going to be here, it's going to be here. That the spirit goes back to the spirit. That is what is conscious to go back to the conscious. That is in the higher imagination will go back into those places. But pulling down those strongholds and any other imaginations that won't allow you to see that you are the God and that you can produce and be the source, and that you are that source of wealth, that source of prosperity, that source of happiness, that source of longevity and good health in your life. You are the source of your peace. You are the source of your energy. You are the source of your atmosphere, and you do change things from the way that you act. So whether if you're going to do it in a way that's going to impact someone that will help propel them, or you're going to do it in a way that's going to impact someone that's going to cause them to hinder themselves. first place of rule that takes place with yourself. And if it's going to do it to yourself, then right, you will do it to others. So learn to pick and choose your fights. Is you learn that some fights are already won, they're taken care of, and the only conflict is within yourself. And so when you pull down these strongholds and you tearing down strongholds and pulling down these imaginations or anything else that will not line up with the word or the thought of God that you are within yourself, anything else you put to the test that will give you the results. If your faith is going to be put to the test, you should have works that will prove your test and your faith to be true. And if you still come up on zero, you still come up on blanks, if you still come up on question marks, I question your faith as well. Answers are either yes or no. So choose your fight. Learn that it's yourself that you're dealing with. If you can construct and build in yourself this understanding about you being God, you don't have to worry about your casting down of the imaginations and all these other things. And bring them to the obedience of the Christ. And when we understand the Christ mindset, the Christ is just allowing in me to understand my divinity, allows me to understand that I am divine, just like the Father, or just like the universe, and just like all things in creation. The oneness of all is divine. And so when you see me, you see the Father, Thomas. When you see me, there's no need to ask me to show you the Father plainly. When you ask me to see God, you see God face to face. Whenever you see yourself, you should be divine. You should be able to see God within yourself before you can see God within anyone else. How else are you going to recognize God if you never know what God looked like or what God is? How in the hell are you going to recognize God? Recognize and see Him in yourself, or it in yourself, and then that way you can do it with everyone else. I want to thank everybody for getting on. I still got my other grandbabies here, so I'm going to get back in here and enjoy myself with these grandbabies. Um, I do want to thank you for, like I said, coming out. Thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing. If you haven't done those things, please do. Um, Go check out the description section on YouTube. Go to the profile. Hit me up on TikTok. Like and comment on them. Since this is a live, you have to go to some of my other things that I have profiled. I probably won't make a bunch of more videos off of this live here on TikTok, but go to my other lives and or my other comments, my other videos that comment on there as well. But or try to catch me live next time. And don't be afraid to talk, comment, give your thoughts and opinions, like and share the information with yourself and others that you may feel that would be good to be shared with. But until next time, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, What's Up Wednesday show on YouTube. I want to thank you for that. So, okay. I want to thank you guys for coming out and catch me next time. As I said on both social media worlds, love you guys and you have a great, great night.